Yes, indeed, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry. And whether you are in the east, west, north, central, in Trinidad, in Tobago, of course, our friends, and wherever you are streaming on the World Wide Web, a pleasant good day to you. Sorry about that for the tardiness tonight, but I want to finish at 10 o'clock nonetheless. I had a hectic day today, of course, and I just returned from a venture that I engaged in, hoping that, of course, I would have returned in time for 8 o'clock, but it is just about 30 minutes past or so. Better late than never, the old people say. And because of the commitment and dedication, I am here, of course, to deliver to you. Let us, of course, continue with our focus on the whole question of solutions. And I want to, of course, to bring to your attention something called MLI. I mentioned that already, of course, the Mobile Lavatil Initiative. You will be pleased, you will be surprised, you will be intrigued, you will be, of course, in a wow mood. That, of course, that could be conceptualized by Laventilians, and therefore the East-West Corridor, and, of course, suggesting a sustainable path for addressing, of course, crime and criminality in Trinidad and Tobago by extension. Sit back and enjoy. Of course, we will take your calls. And don't forget, the objective is, of course, to get to 20,000, of course, viewers in the fullness of time. Please enjoy your host, Lennox Smith.
I feel the heavens. Come on and set me free. Oh, now, in the midst of my battle, all hope was gone.
Yes, indeed.
Don't cry. Oh, no, no. Just remember.
Yes, indeed, of course. I try to put a little religious spin tonight. Because, of course, without that, what I consider to be unseen, but extremely powerful and influential, we as human beings could do nothing. That, of course, will assist in the aid of our fellow men and women. After all, that is one, of course, the spiritual and the religious aspects of the human existence, the human, should I say, variety is based on. Yes, indeed, and therefore, of course, we must, of course, pay homage. Let's say a little before, of course, we get into the substance of tonight's program.
Need to cry.
Yes, indeed, of course. Just a minute, I just get a little issue here that I need to address. But of course, it is about, of course, looking at our situation. But I want to look at, as I said, solutions tonight again. And therefore, of course, so one of the solution is something called MLI that we invented. You see, it is significant because it specifically addresses crime and criminality. And I thought I should boast a bit. Let me just start that over so you'll understand what is at stake here. Yes, indeed. And of course, to tell you that, let me pause here because there is, of course, a story behind that particular part of that video where in 2009, when Manning, of course, as I said, went across the country looking for solutions about crime and criminality and our young people and the development, or should I say the proliferation of gangs and gang activities. Well, when the Prime Minister then, talking about Manning, had his presentation, or should I say meet the people on the subject at the Success Laventille Secondary School, I made my presence there and I took the mic. Yes. But let's go to the line. Let's go to the line immediately, of course. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Sorry about the tardiness of tonight's program, but we are here and we are raring and ready to go. A pleasant good night.
Yes, Dr. Lennox. Good night, Dr. Lennox.
Good night to you, my friend.
Yeah, I saw a call on the chat there. Facebook not up, so I just called you to tell you that now.
It should be by now. I have seen it registered here in the studio.
No, when I call on the chat, it says Facebook not up, so I call you.
Let him check again now because I just had it engaged. Let me put it that way. All right? Yeah. So those of you who are on Facebook, check now and see. I don't have a checking mechanism. Let me just check my own phone here. So let's get it clear.
I'll call you later.
Thanks very much for that. Yeah, that piece of information.
I'll call you back.
All right. There's another call coming in. Let's hear what they have to say. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Lennox. This is Dico Martin.
Are you viewing us on YouTube or Facebook?
YouTube. Other YouTube.
Oh, YouTube man. All right. Okay. Sorry. Somebody complained about Facebook. But go ahead. Whilst I check. Go ahead.
It is crystal clear on YouTube.
Okay. Good.
You saw the program well this morning.
Well, tonight, yes.
Right. Yeah. Sorry.
That's right. I understand. Human frailty in terms of Freudian slips, but that's all right. It did happen to me too.
You invoke the Lord and Christianity.
Yes, ma'am.
But I want to go back to something that is current.
Yes.
Attack on the churches and the churches leader, and how some of those men of cloth are using the word deceitful in quotes.
Yes.
You remember a Roman Catholic priest by the name of Harvey?
Yes, Father Harvey, we call him, yes.
Father, yes. Right. And basically he was stationed on Gonzales on the hill up there.
Yes.
And that is the area where there is a lot of criminal activity. I'm not going to say he nurtured them, but he really interfaces with them regular. And that is the end result of some of his how should I say, his relationship with them.
Okay.
You remember in 2017 he was hog-tied, robbed, beaten, and they threatened to kill him?
Yes,
right?
yes.
Let's go back to that, and he was immediately put or sent to Grenada to be the Bishop of Grenada.
Yeah, he appeared to, of course, accepted it because I think he was reluctant and he felt that he should have been, of course, the Archbishop for Trinidad. Of course, somebody was given that post. Well, go ahead.
I have my own thoughts about that. The perpetrator was caught, he was a witness, and he basically probably shied away. He didn't stay to do battle.
I see.
Fast forward now, karma has taken and is teaching us something. When there's an issue, you act, your actions bind you or free you. And he didn't act at that time to tell the flock who is responsible for the facilitation of crime and which government. That was the KCR government in 2017. The same thing has happened with the Roman Catholic priest in Vega de Ropuch, Father White.
Yes, so recently, that's a recent iteration
Right.
of
So-
the
so-
attack
so-
of course, the men of the cloth in Trinidad. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And we have to understand there is a close relationship between the PNM and various supposedly Christian institutions. You remember a father by the name of Father Kennedy, I think is Swarat Singh. was
Kennedy,
the
from where?
Father Kennedy, Swarat, I think is some kind of thing. But he
Okay.
was the MP for PNM in St. Joseph.
Oh, okay, good. Mhm.
You understand? So I'm showing you the close relationship.
Yeah, the nexus, yes. The
Yes, and that is something that they have avoided criticizing the PNM on the way they are providing safety and security for our country. They don't talk out. Anytime it's the PNM, they remain silent. And this is what we have faced, and we have to call them out. Because recently, other institutions have come out vehemently against what is happening with respect to the desecration of the institute, the Mahasaba, the Muslims, the other faiths. But we have a Roman Catholic fraternity that is basically silent on the issue. So, as I said, karma is teaching us something. We have to be honest to our flock. We cannot, I don't want to use any strong language, but we cannot fool them, tell them where it is. And the only way we could come out of this quagmire of crime and criminal action is to get rid of the PNM by voting. Because I'm hearing our Prime Minister, we have to say our Prime Minister, even though we didn't vote for him, he is saying the police is lazy now. At one time he's saying they're sleeping in the offices that close up the police station. He is saying they are lazy, unproductive. And that is a mirror image of him. He's the laziest Prime Minister we have.
Well, you know, the rational and knowledgeable and common sense and concerned citizen would say that that is an admission of failure by the Rowley administration.
Because
Yeah,
as
go
a
ahead.
lazy prime minister, he didn't do the due diligence
That's right.
to choose the executive of the police service.
But more than that, if you take him at his words when he was in opposition, that a government that cannot address the question of crime, which clearly his government cannot, they have three consistent broken records for 3 consecutive years since he is in office. It shows that the level of hypocrisy and maybe the devilish and satanic, should I say, execution or nature of this government, and therefore God has turned his back. Yeah.
No, my other point is, all of a sudden, the PNM care about Lal Bihari Trace, south of the Caroni Bridge. This is Stuart Young came from Lal Bihari Trace in Pinal. Well, if he is a son of Lal Bihari Trace, I want him not to go up and sit down.
No, that is part of the optics, part of the propaganda that is, of course, is the PNM. I mean, we will discuss as we look at solutions that have already been, let's say, expressed and evaluated, and success stories that, of course, this government has failed to even consider because it has come from the bowels of the community that is affected by persons who have serious concerns and therefore have put their brain and their creativity to work, as we did, as we invented, of course, the steel pan. But go ahead.
What he has to do now, give up the sentency and go down to the penal in that constitution and fight it. Sure,
that's all. Thank you very much. Of course, we have other callers. Don't forget, I'm trying to be as compendious as possible.
And let me finish quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
That boat that has the body and the Coast Guard apparently...
A second time it has come to our shores, yeah. Such a situation,
yeah. But I want to tell people, you know what happened with that boat? It's pirates, yam pirates. Take the produce on that yam boat, you know, that was coming from Ghana with the yam that KCR promised.
I hear you, my friend. All of the sarcasm as well. Yeah, I hear you. All right. Thank you very much. Let's go. Thank you very much. Let's go to the next caller. A pleasant good night. All right. A pleasant good night, Mr. Oh boy. Who is this now?
Tacarigua, boy.
Yeah, Tacarigua. Go ahead. No, I seen another call too from San Fernando. So, Mr. San Fernando, you'll have to wait, but go ahead, Tacarigua.
Right. Before I start,
yes.
I don't know if the priest, the boy talking about it from the Go Martin. I think he mixed up. That priest was from Tabadi. Hello?
All right, yeah, go ahead. I'm listening, yeah.
And his name was Father Hennessy.
Okay.
And all around the make the call him. So if the priest could play, who is we?
And he from Dabadi. Yeah. All right, well, caller, the previous caller, of course, Diego Martin, just check your information because it may be a coincidence as well because you never could tell. It's a confluence of maybe two similar acts. Yeah. So please, so we are not decrying what you're saying, but if it is that if Mr. Tagarigua is, of course, on the button, then please call back to let us know that, or not. Go ahead, Tagarigua.
Let me make my point now.
Yes.
What is going on with Rowdy, boy?
I said already, he has gone berserk. Who the gods wish to destroy, they first send them mad, and of course, any port for a storm, because of course they are imploding, and now of course we are seeing the man is in cognitive and intellectual decline.
How the man could come on television and tell you about they never had anything about with race and against this one and that one. When everybody knew in 1981 when the Equilibrium died, right? And the Clark was going to appoint Kamal Mohammed as the Prime Minister. The whole PNM cabinet say they will resign. They don't want to Indian Prime Minister now. You didn't want Indian, eh?
Yeah.
Because I feel to use this keyboard in my mouth tonight. And Ellis Clark tell you, Sir Ellis Clark, eh?
Yeah.
He was appointed by the Queen that they said they were going to resign. And he had no choice but to put George Chambers, who as you always do, as you know, I always tell you did a good job. Right?
Yeah.
Chambers was a good Prime Minister. The next thing, Lennox. Why are you trying to shove down with people to if everybody accepts
well, as everything Dr. Rowley pursues, the PNM days are numbered. Let's face it, it will now become obsolete. I mean, and that is a good thing for the country because they would have, of course, self-imposed and created their own extinction. So I am not too concerned or in any way regretting, that approach because anything Rowley touches fails anyway. It collapses. It is destroyed.
Right, no.
So, of course, now he has gone after the PNM itself and he targets it for destruction. Yeah.
If everything's so honky dory with them, we'll have to be shoving down the people's throats.
But more than that, the very event itself was a concocted, capricious, knee-jerk. No, that was a special convention at Napa. Why you have a special convention when you postpone, of course, the elections. And
That's
when
right.
you also said that a convention is required to certify the new, of course, leader, when you would have, of course, eventually, if at all, you make your exit. So therefore, we know it is political optics. That is what that was all about. It has nothing to do with, of course, our business. The country is on autopilot. But go ahead, my friend.
It's obvious to have a rumbling inside that party, you know.
Obviously, so that was designed, of course, to set the record straight and to give the facade, to give the illusion of course, unity. That is what that was about. So soon after that whole melee, because the whole country and the rank and file would have known. So therefore, what they have done, what he has done, of course, is tell the rank and file, or put more specifically, the sycophants on them. Of course, sycophants here includes, of course, those persons who are eating from what I consider to be the poison trough of greed. The poison trough of greed. Greed here meaning that to get unmerited resources, financial resources, unmeritoriously. So we know, we understand that. But go ahead, my friend.
That every political scientist I listen to tonight on the news,
Yes.
everybody against telling you straight, sure, George can make it.
Well, obviously, just imagine. I'm glad that you mentioned the whole question of the ethnicity, what I consider to be dilemma or quandary of Rowley. Because remember, he made it a point to keep Indians off the platform, and only Africans would be seen, faces will be seen in campaigns. How could he now justify that he is a what? That the PNM is an all-inclusive party, and that of course this one there and these sprinklings and this what I consider to be symbolic or put another way, examples are not, of course, the norm in terms of ethnicity representation within the party and the leadership and elsewhere. And tell us that listen, you are all inclusive. Hold your tail. You can't come with that old time obsolete trick. But go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, 1981 always here to show you we're talking crap.
Of course, he's talking crap. And even recently as well, you had an election in 2020. You had an election, of course, in 2015. And you had other elections as well in terms of local government. And the main players, it wasn't Sinanan. Sinanan was no frontline spokesperson. Neither Stuart Young. You know what I mean? But you had, of course, people like Hines and Camille Robinson, Regis, and possibly to a lesser extent Penelope Beckles, those black and, of course, African faces leading, of course, the charge, of course, towards, of course, the ultimate destruction of the PNM, led by, of course, a man who is a moving disaster, called Keith Christopher Rowley.
That can remind me right now of a movie called Rumble on the Docks.
Rumble on the Docks. All right. I will look for that tonight. All right. Okay.
And here, Gary Aboud. I am tonight. He's all good.
All right.
You want to know how the Coast Guard vessel could lose the pirogue they was pulling. You know, they find that pirogue, and it had 6 bodies in it, dead people there.
Yeah, but are you saying that they lost that pirogue?
Yes, boy.
What the hell is this?
When they look to see.
But I tell you, the man blighted to the hilt. I mean, there could be no other curse.
But what Gary Aboud say, and I with him this time, you know, when I against him as blasting.
Yes.
They had nobody watching the blasting pirogue. You have a long rope to in that somebody's supposed to be watching it all the time.
Well, it's obvious, and they should have something behind it, behind all of the frontal activities, so that any untoward, at least they would have had the experience of the mystery, the mystery tug, and that tanker that, of course, found its way in Tobago and, of course, generated that ecological disaster. Yes.
The man also say that he had a rope to in it, one to the rope.
You know what I'm saying? So he learned from the previous experience. But that's how it is. All right, we have some more callers.
That's all last thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
He said, and they have men working in the Coast Guard getting YouTube family connections.
Well, why you think none of them or all of them was timid not to go and save lives in that pipeline that took the lives of 4 fellas? One
He said half of them can't swim.
one by chance, one by chance
you
got out, yeah. All right.
There are men on the Coast Guard that can't swim, Lennox.
Yes, I wouldn't be surprised.
But
I wouldn't be surprised. All right.
I had to believe him because he always following up this arm.
Yes, my friend. Yes. But let me get
all
on.
right, boy, Lennox.
Yeah, let me get on. Right. We have another call. We have some more callers. All right. Caller, call back. Sorry about the delay. But please, I will have to cut you off if, of course, you are taking too long because there are others attempting to come in, and we have a very short window tonight. All right. Let's not waste time. And I have not gone into the meat of what I have to say as yet either. A pleasant good night.
Good night, Lennox. Just to put it in perspective,
Yes, go ahead.
the MP for the PNM in 2007 for St. Joseph was former father Kennedy Sawat Singh,
Okay, so what thing? Yes,
a
so what thing?
Roman
Yes,
Catholic,
yes.
a Roman Catholic priest who disrobed himself, got married, and became
Yes,
a member.
yes, I remember that. Yes.
Right,
So
it had nothing to do
so
with
so
the
yes, so
Muslim
it's the confluence of two circumstances that may be distinct from each other, but the commonality is that they were
Right.
members of the
Next
club.
up
Yes,
for
all
the
right. I hear
PNM.
you, yes. Okay.
Okay, bye.
Right. Thank you very much, of course. So the correction came. So Mr. Tagarigua, you are right, and of course, Mr. Digo Martin is also right because there's two different individuals that was being spoken of. That being as it may, let me of course go straight to that picture that is in the back of me, and of course we'll continue to take your calls, but let us get things in perspective. I was saying that of course it was as a result of the former Prime Minister, deceased of course Manning, when he came to Laventille on his efforts to try to get solutions for crime and criminality. Of course, I think by now we would have to agree that when the PNM is in government, crime and criminality just escalates. And of course, with a belligerent and a very obnoxious and a very, what I consider to be evil person at the helm. He himself, of course, should be a long time ago the subject of criminal investigation. Rape, people. Bowley ought to have been the subject of criminal investigation. But the fact of the matter is that it has continued under his administration after Manning, but much more exponentially and much more explosively and much more prolific. Let's not waste time. But the fact of the matter is that at that point in time, I presented myself at the Success Laventille Secondary School, right, of course, in Success Village there, where I am from, of course, and I presented, of course, a 1,000-page document. A portion of it I will show you probably tomorrow night. I don't have it in front of me, and I don't propose, of course, to go and look for it now. But of course, I did that, and as a consequence, Martin Joseph, the then Minister of National Security, called me and invited me, of course, to address the National Security Council before Heinz could ever dream to be addressing the National Security Council or be part of. I want to make that very clear. But let's go to the lines. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Mr. Lennox.
Yes.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
This is a call from Canada, Mr. Saga.
Yes. Welcome, Canada.
And first-time caller.
Okay. Thank you very
And
much
there's
for calling
something-
from Canada.
Something is bothering me since last week, Thursday.
Go ahead.
You get a call from someone and giving a set of this and that, what he do and what he didn't do.
Yes.
But I just want to tell you one thing, sir.
Uh-huh.
Someone called a time and said that they would be coming and bringing a computer for you.
Yes.
If you remember that clearly.
Yes. I mentioned it last night.
All right.
After
so,
he called in and apologized,
be careful.
he apologized on the ground report. He
Yeah.
apologized, of course, to everybody on the program last night.
Okay, but I just want to still tell you, be careful how you're taking that computer.
All right, based on what
Okay.
transpired before. I hear you, my friend.
Have a blessed one. I just trying to get on to ground report 2 guys to talk to you guys.
Yes, no problem.
it has
But the
been kinda
matter has
difficult
been
and it's
resolved.
very-
All of the
Yeah.
potential recriminations and the antagonism, and of course, benefiting no one else but, of course, a PNM propaganda machinery that is now in overdrive, but of course to no effect, because we seem to always, of course, capture the narrative and, of course, make them null and void and of no effect. But they will die trying.
Okay, and I want to say thanks to all the callers who did call in Santa Cruz, and well, I can't remember Arima,
Yes.
Tunapuna, whoever everybody is calling.
Yes, very,
thanks to
very,
everybody.
very.
And I always listen. Sometimes I don't have time to listen live, but I always play it back at night because I work night shifts. So I always play
Oh,
it
I
back
see.
at night
Okay,
and
yes.
listen to
Well,
you guys.
thanks, of course, for that
Okay.
dedication, and of course, in the pursuance of knowledge that are nestled, of course, in facts that are provable, because you have facts that you can't prove, like some people in their attempts to be mischievous and generate misinformation and disinformation. All right.
Naturally. So take care, have a good one, and pleasant guys.
And thank you very much, of course,
you
for
guys.
out of an abundance of caution, you attempted that gave rise to this call. Thank you very, very, very much. And call again. All right, bye-bye.
Okay,
Yes.
good night, sir.
And have a wonderful rest of the year to you and yours.
You too.
All right. Yes, indeed. So we have settled that matter, so I'm not going to belabor it, so to speak. But let me get back, of course, to that particular picture at the back of me, because you notice, of course, Martin Joseph here. You see, of course, Donna Cox, she's still around. Of course, you had the wife of Patrick Manning, he's the Manning. You had, of course, Marlene McDonald. You have, of course, Hippolyte. Look him there, Hippolyte. And, of course, with a younger face, but that is me there in the middle, on the side of Hippolyte. That's me there. And but at that meeting in the school, as I said, I presented, of course, a thick document of over 1,000 pages. And when I presented it, of course, at the end of my verbal presentation, because you can't be too long in such circumstance, because a lot of people will want to speak. Of course, Manning turned, of course, to the Minister of National Security, then, of course, Martin Joseph, and, of course, and told him, well, of course, to collect the document. But then he started one time and said, listen, if I look to read that, election will come and go, and I ain't finished. So if I could be, of course, a little more compendious, shorten it, and then, of course, and then I got, as I said, a call from Martin Joseph asking me to come and address the National Security Council at the end of Manning's, of course, tour across the country. I will continue after this call. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Good night. Good night. Good night. Welcome.
Good time call, all right?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
I want to know how you never play this on the platform. Hello, are you hearing me, Clark?
Go ahead. How or what?
No. Or you never play this on the platform.
Never
The
play,
platform,
never.
I can't remember wait. I can't remember with Belmont on a platform where the Prime Minister says,
Yeah.
right, he don't take orders from Mali State.
He gave what? Speak a little louder. He gave what?
No, he do not take orders from Mali Street.
Repeat that. I hear you again.
That's about 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay, go ahead,
I
but
do
tell
not
me
take
what
orders from
what I supposed to know. Let me hear. What he said.
No, he was on a platform and he said, but you know Mali Street is where you get your visa and thing, right?
Yeah.
and he say, I do not take orders from Mali Street. How come you never play that if you get it?
All right, okay, well, I am not familiar with that
I never hear
particular clip.
nobody calling and say that. The man stand up either by speaker corner or something and say, I don't take orders from Mali Street. Man stand up proud and say that, boy.
For Mali, I'll have a look at it.
Mali, if you don't say Mali is street.
Oh, Mali Street, right. That is to say the Americans.
Yes.
Okay.
Party.
All right.
But he just say, I don't take orders from Mali. M-A-L-I, Mali.
Mali, right? Okay, I thought what Mali you're referring to. Okay, Mali, right?
No.
All right, but if you have, or
Meaning-
you can remember the period, even if it's the year or the month.
Orders from the ambassador there, you know?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, because of course it was the current Minister of Housing, Robinson Regis, who also said in the Parliament that of course who the hell is Trump? You remember that? Yeah, who the hell is Trump? But now Rowley running from Trump. He suddenly don't want prime minister. He suddenly don't want to be the leader of the party. You understand? And that is because of the advent of, or the, should I say, the re-emergence of Trump. We will be looking at all of that.
Well, boy,
Yeah.
but I find people giving you more and more accent, boy. I go tell man, I said, let me call Lennox and tell him that, boy.
Yeah. I will look for it and, of course, share it with the international audience, but directed to the domestic, for domestic consumption.
No, but Lennox, do you have a WhatsApp number?
Yes, the same number, 337-6940.
Okay, now, but I'll lose my pen, right? So I'll get back and call again.
All right, but I think this is the same number that we are talking to each other, and you would have called me. So therefore, that's the number.
Oh, but the WhatsApp number,
No, that same number we are talking on. Call, whatever you have to send it on that number, and I will get it.
No, but could I put it on WhatsApp?
Yeah, WhatsApp, yes.
Well, I don't know the put it on WhatsApp, and I put it on my WhatsApp for a minute.
All right, okay. Well, you had, all right, well, you have to call me after the program.
To be quiet, I have plenty things to say, you know.
Okay. All right.
You know what else?
If what?
I am 80 years old, you know.
All right, okay. That. All right, you are 80 years young because
No. I'm brilliant and I real.
That's right. Everybody hearing you all over the world right now. So you are making a contribution. Yeah.
No, I'm 50, man. I'm 50 back then.
I hear you, my friend.
Tell you what they say, what they do say.
So we have a lot of talk. We have a lot of talking to do and a lot of contribution you have to make.
I'm forgetting you. I'm forgetting to write the papers.
Okay, my friend. All right, thanks.
I saw plenty people never know that you can write the papers.
Yeah, I agree with you. So we need to talk and we need to get all what you have. You can't go with all of that information and not share it with us.
Right.
All right?
All right.
Okay then. Thank you. Let me just sitting in here like a runaway horse, so let me make sure and get a fan close to me. Yes, indeed. Of course, with the haste, you know, these things happen where you may overlook something. And of course, on this occasion, I overlooked, of course, making sure that the fan is close by so that it takes away some of the excess sweat or the excess, of course, exertion that I would normally, of course, exert on a night like this. Yes, indeed, of course. So I was making a point about the... Yes, thank you very much, sir. Yes, I was making a point about, of course, the 1,000-page document that was then, of course, whittled down, was truncated, cut short, in order to, of course, accommodate Manning's decision or desire. And I sent it, of course, to the then Minister of National Security, Martin Joseph. And as I say, as a consequence, I was called by him to make a presentation. And the presentation was about, of course, crime and criminality, because I went to the United States sometime earlier, and I remember very distinctly talking with Dr. Gatti James in New York, Brooklyn to be more specific, and a number of other, what I consider to be a think tank. And Gatti James is from Tobago and was concerned, and still is, I presume, concerned about, of course, crime and criminality, and as a expert in, of course, sociology, psychology, and politics, and of course economics, etc. We were able to put a program together called the Empowerment Initiative. So I came back to Trinidad with that, and I had the job of putting it together finally, the final document. And that was the document that I presented to Manning, and that was the basis on which I was called to address the National Security Council on that matter. As I said, before Hines could ever dream to be part of or to address the National Security Council. Yes, Hines, eat your heart out. And those of you who believe that these fellas have some special talent, no, they have none, because you see, Hines is a total failure, of course, and that is endemic of the blasted PNM by, of course, led by a man who is a total and absolute failure. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Hello, good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you, my friend.
I call in from Canada. All these guys is a sort of A. I won't say what it is, but there's a sort of A.
I hear you. Well, I go put the rest. ASS.
You can say what you want, brother.
ASS.
Have a good night.
Yes.
Have a good night. I listen to you every night. Don't mind
All right, thank you.
Don't mind it's cold up here.
It's cold,
it's cold up here, but I listen to you every night, brother.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, of course, for that contribution. Thank you very much. All right, thank you.
It's a set of A's, man.
ASSES. I hear you.
You can say the balance. I don't think.
Yeah. Of course, it's a state of emergency, but I don't think that they are ready for Lennox Smith as yet. We have seen Rowley has been procrastinating all the time. So much so that I had to send him a pre-action political letter, and even in that circumstance, he has not responded. So I have to take it to the next stage. Wait and see.
Lennox.
Yes.
I could say one thing to the public of Trinidad and Tobago, whatever.
Yes. By all means.
Why it is when Rowley going on any vacation, he don't carry his wife, he carries Stuart Young?
Well, there is something about a special branch operative. There is something about, of course, his, what I consider to be honey goat weed. You know what the honey goat weed?
So then Young is more important than his wife.
Well, you never could tell what the preferences are, because these days people have preferences and you're not allowed to talk about it, sexual and otherwise. I don't talk.
Okay, brother. Good night. I can't say anything more again. Good night,
I hear you. You see, you want to engulf me in Bacchanal, right? You want to hear more, but no. I'm going to stick, of course, to the issue of the day that is relevant to us, and it will advance. But of course, we must be able now to look at the character and personalities that have, of course, commandeered government in this country. That is important. You see, a dishonorable person is seeking honorable office. The only outcome could be what we are having now: dishonorableness, or destruction, pain, ache, agony, incompetence, impotence, criminal behavior, and corruption. And of course, I will have to conclude this by saying you just have to look at Balize House to get, of course, the evidence that is so pellucid and so conspicuous that even a blind man I would say, can see that. It's an oxymoron, if you want to call it that. It is, of course, a figure of speech, but, of course, is apt for the present circumstance because they will deny it, as we have seen. And, of course, we saw, of course, in this so-called special convention, where Rowley is saying that the PNM is all-inclusive. So he has a sprinkling, of course, of persons at the level of the executive. He has, of course, a sprinkling of persons maybe at what I consider to be at the kitchen cabinet level. Because you have the main cabinet, the people who, of course, he goes to make decisions for the country with. And then he has, of course, those who they will give, of course, opportunities like directors and chairmen of state enterprises, quite a lot of them. And those I consider to be the kitchen cabinet. And then, of course, the wider sycophantic grouping that includes them, because why not? It's 30 pieces of silver, and they are prepared to betray. They are prepared to be perfidious. They are prepared, of course, to disgrace only because of 30 pieces of silver. And only today, somebody was referring, of course, to me about Judas. And I think that person told me that, listen, when Judas realized the 30 pieces of silver that he betrayed Christ for was of no use, was irrelevant, it was ocious, and that all where he went to look for solace and, of course, some kind of commendation for what he did, it turned out that he ended up on the streets and dogs ate out his bowels. I didn't know that. I have to check it. Dogs ate out his bowels. He had a gruesome departure from this earth. I want, of course, those people who are surrounding Rowley and Rowley himself to understand what transpired. And in case they forget, we need, of course, to remind them. And while I speak of course, blue lights and silver bracelets, the criminal law and those that have sworn to uphold the criminal law, we need to understand there's a greater law, a greater power, a greater mystery. Yes, a greater enigmatic circumstance for persons who would have done that level of injustice to their own people. And there is enough evidence in the person of whether it be Hitler, whether it be Mussolini, whether it be Saddam Hussein, and whether it be, of course, from Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe, or indeed, as it's unfolding, as far as Maduro in Venezuela is concerned. But let's get back, of course, to the topic of the moment. So, equipped, of course, with the information to make the presentation at the behest of the National Security Minister then, Martin Joseph, and the National Security Council held that meeting at the old fire station just obliquely opposite the Red House that was refurbished, and there was a horseshoe table at the open end, and of course with a PowerPoint presentation on my laptop. I connected it, of course. It was connected to, of course, their system there, where I could, of course, explain my presentation. I want to say, and I want to thank Archbishop Barbara Grayberg, because she accompanied me. I want to also thank that young lady that was, of course, my assistant, as she had to, of course, adjust the computer from time to time, pause for emphasis, and then, of course, go on to the next slide because it was a PowerPoint presentation. And, of course, as I said, it came as a consequence of collaboration and consultation and meetings, of course, in New York with, of course, Dr. Gatti James from Tobago and a number of other persons that form part of what we call then a think tank to address the problem of this area. Yes, on a sustained basis. We will get there. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hello, good night.
Good night.
Yeah, this is San Fernando.
San Fernando. Welcome, San Fernando, once again.
Yeah, the other night when I called, I think I was talking on a particular subject, and after the program, I started to meet people like on the streets and things.
Right.
And some of them said that they were listening to the program.
Right.
And they found that the topic was interesting.
Good.
But I needed to expand a little more.
Good.
You hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear, and everybody in the world.
Right. I think the topic I was talking about was the keeping down of the system whereby with the what I was trying to explain is the thing with the sunspots.
With the what?
With sunspots.
Yeah, okay,
Remember
yes, go ahead, yes.
I was telling you about my mom bought a black and white TV, and why it is that we couldn't have more than one TV station.
Yes.
Right, and I think the general manager at the time was Jimmy Bain, and he was saying that it's because of a thing called sunspots.
Right.
But two things I want to look at here. And remember, I was saying that it was ridiculous because now on your black and white TV in those days, you had a knob, right? That to the top of the TV. When you turn it, you get the different channels.
Okay.
But what made me wonder why it is we couldn't have more than one station is because when you turn the knob, you get that knob was designed to think for more than one channels.
I see.
So and then too when I did the research, because in those days we didn't have computers and stuff.
Right.
Right? And when I did the research, I think I went to the library and I did the research on sunspots.
Okay.
Now, sunspots are really areas where the magnetic field is about 2,500 times stronger than that of the Earth's. Okay. So you can understand from this perspective now where I'm coming from.
Yes.
Right? Now, if it is stronger than the Earth. Now, that magnetic field, it's very powerful around the whole universe. So how come it is we can't have another TV station in Trinidad? No. I'm going down the road here, expanding on what I said last week.
Occasion, yes. And right. Earlier, yes.
And earlier. No. This tells me that that regime was trying to keep people down. Right? From information. They were trying to block off information from people. So having another station or more stations, people would have been more educated once information started to flow. But with the advent of technology, right? Because of the same sunspots and what the sunspots is able to do, because this is a magnetic field we're talking about. We now have cell phones and we now have even I and you talking over the internet.
Right now, yes.
Right?
Live and in real time, yes.
And in real time. So, right? And then I made the thing about going with Keith Scotland, where he was I was also explaining that's ridiculous because look at it from this point of view too, right? Just imagine when they took office in 2010, right? It's like what you said some time ago, a couple months ago. I give you a house, right? That house had a nice roof, windows and everything put together. They have destroyed this economy and have destroyed a lot of, what I should say, progression of the youth in Trinidad.
Yeah.
Right? They destroyed the whole economy. And now, after destroying it, they're coming to tell me to go back to coal pot and bicycle. You follow where I'm coming from? No,
I'm laughing because, you know, it sometimes things are so serious that if you laugh, you might burst a vessel in your head. So go ahead.
Yeah. Now I expanding it further. I'm going further. I think it was either last week or week before. I heard a caller from maybe Point, I think it is Point, who said, right, that if he had his way, he would ban the carnival in Trinidad. Right?
Yes.
No. I want to say this to that caller and to say this to the world. Right? Think about what I've just said in the last 5 minutes or 3 minutes, right? Think about this. When Carnival was launched last year, 2025 launch, right? That was in September, November, somewhere around there,
yeah,
right?
The 2025 Carnival launch in 2024 around December, yes. Go ahead.
In the Savannah,
yes.
in Port of Spain.
Yeah.
Right? Think about this, right? 93. This is what the present manager of Gypsy.
Yeah, the chairman of NCC,
of
National
NCC.
Carnival Commission. Yes.
This is what he says, right? That Trinidad and Tobago made 93 million US off of Carnival in 2024.
Okay.
No, that tells me this is a big industry. That you talking about what? Almost $1 billion?
Yeah, because you have to multiply that by 7. About some say if you go in the black market, they multiply it by 10.
Yeah, right. And we have in Trinidad a number of people who play. I am all into the mass, right? And you have from the pan. Now I'm talking here tourism, tourism, right? You have the pan, you have calypso, you have people who play in the mass, you have all the traditional mass people, right? Who is playing the Dame Lorraine, the Pierrot Grenade, the Midnight Rubber, right? You want to tell me that 93 million US was made off a carnival last year, and people in the mass fraternity and the pan fraternity and all of them still suffering? What are they doing with the money? You understand what I'm saying?
No, I hear you. Because as soon as you spoke that with respect to pan fraternity, I wonder putting the pan on the emblem of the country, on the coat of arms, what economic, what financial benefit it will get the pan movement. That is the other question that must be asked. I suppose they too have a duty to ask that question. But go ahead.
And here the question that also must be asked. The land that was given to Pan Trinbago, I don't think that Beverly Ramsey-Moore, right, truly understood what that was for, you know, because it was for all of that for tourism. That land, Pande had given that land to develop the tourist industry, you know, the Pan fraternity.
I understand. A whole mall was supposed to be established there. All of the enough space for the special events put on by them because they could stage a lot of activities there perennially, meaning year round, and it is distinct, as I said last night, from of course Rising Road, when of course I'm sure that there will be complaints from persons in the nearby Hyatt and across the street. You also have, of course, another major hotel, once called the Holiday Inn. Remember that? And I cannot see how they would want to give up that piece of... no, let me put it another way. How they could be tricked to giving up that piece of land for that. Because I say trick specifically because if Dr. Wally was really concerned about the steel pan and, of course, its advancement and movement, he would not have, of course, tried to trick them out of giving up that land. If it's anything, he should have added the Rising Road, property, but not take it from them in lieu of. Give them that in lieu of the other. Yes.
And he keeps taking away.
So it is about political survivability. He see them as a tool to, of course, hoodwink the people along the east-west corridor in particular, whether it be from Diego Martin, whether it be Port of Spain South, whether it be Lavatil West, Lavatil East, of course, that includes, of course, places like Beetham, Silat, Chumacac, etc., and East Port of Spain. And I want those young people in particular to understand that the country they save on this occasion will be their own, and they better stop what I consider to be the invisible borderline and get to your polling stations and make your presence felt by your vote, and more significantly, caution, warn, and of course, I'll say beseech your elders if they cannot vote in favor of the UNC, and of course, it's whatever arrangement that they have, don't go and vote, because they have to save this country. Those youths must save the country for themselves. But go ahead.
They have to save it.
Yeah.
They have to save it. But there's an inspirational aspect there too. Remember, I give you a song.
Yes.
Right? That song is relevant now. No. I come in at you, you know.
Go ahead, man. Yes, go ahead, man.
You were saying,
yes.
I come in at you because just yesterday, I got a thing to do a video on the song.
Beautiful.
Right? So next, I don't want to call no name.
No, don't call name. No, just present it to me, and we'll present it on the program.
But no, that person close to you, close to you.
All right, okay, no problem.
That person close to you, right? Understand? So I'm coming at you.
All
so
right.
It's an inspirational thing that we have to be on to move the youth, because I'll tell you this thing, White Up. I'm going back again to even White Up.
Yes.
White Up manual was designed to move the youths from where they are, to put them,
in a position where they can make their contribution respectively,
to Trinidad. So, and this present song that I did, it deals with that too. Well.
Beautiful.
The message.
Well, listen, we have some other people calling in, so they will be frustrated. So we have to chunk up what you have to say and maybe come back in later.
Yeah, but I have plenty to say.
I know that. That is why I say that you don't want to give it too much to, of course, have others feel that they should get an equal amount of time like you. And next thing, of course, I could only take 2 calls for the whole program of 2 hours. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Bye-bye. Yes, indeed, of course. So continue to make your calls. Please, of course, as I said, keep it a bit short so that we can get as much calls as possible. We are trying to get up to 20,000, of course, for the night, and then, of course, we will then target, of course, 40,000. We're going by the 20. We must be bold, but of course, as I said, we have to do some technical adjustments in terms of hardware and software. We are getting there, and as I said, we are committed and dedicated. Of course, the only thing that is left for the PNM to do is to call election. They have done nothing of substance, of significance. They alone. When you hear them in the parliament, you could swear that the decadence, the retrogression, the abominable destruction, institutions as well as our finances, as well as our economy, and as though their sudden wealth, their sudden windfall, their sudden voluptuousness is not as a consequence of their greed and their pillage or raiding the treasury of the country directly and indirectly. You know what I mean. They know what I mean. They know what I mean by that. But let's get back, of course, to the subject of the day. So as I said, as a consequence, let me just fast forward because we are already, of course, at 9:36, and of course, don't forget tomorrow morning the ground report. We will continue, and we'll continue with this tomorrow night. But I want to tell you that, of course, I want to thank, as I said, Archbishop Burke for being there, and we, of course, made our presentation. As a consequence of that, I was asked, of course, and of course with some kind of remuneration, to leave my flash drive, which I did. I want to say I got no compensation, no money. Let's be clear here, no money. But of course, I felt good to know that that was one of the presentations that they took on board. And coming out of that exercise, there were others that made presentation, different parts of the police, I believe, and so on, and the army and other persons. But of course, what emerged from that is the MLI, Mobile Lavatil Initiative. Yes, that came out. And of course, that came after that exercise of the presentation to the National Security Council. I was called to another meeting at the ministry itself on Abercrombie Street. And there also assembled, consequential of being called by the National Security Minister, who happened to be then, of course, the General Secretary of the PNM as well, but he was National Security Minister, was made National Security Minister, talking about Martin Joseph. And there I met Donna Cox. I met, of course, the wife of Manning, Hazel Manning, Marlene MacDonald, and of course, Hippolyte. I was the only non-minister in the presence to, of course, present to us the final document, which, of course, is what I have on screen. But let's go to the lines first before we go further. A special good night. Welcome.
Yeah, good night, Mr. Smith.
Good night to you, my friend.
Yeah, man. I listened to the Prime Minister blaming the police again.
Yeah. Well, the only person he blamed me at is Jesus Christ.
That is just trying to divert something away from the government that they incompetent, you know.
Of
that
course,
is not
of course.
we
know that.
Police.
That just make believe, camouflage, diversions, and all of the indicators of a failed administration that shame and more so afraid to lie down, to give up, to call elections. Go ahead. But they have to.
And you hear he trying to tell the people how it's themselves who vote for Stuart Young to make him the chairman of the party.
Yeah, he uses, of course, these circumlocutions, roundabout talk, and a kind of language that really is not necessarily in reality. But go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is let them vote for him to be leader of the party. No, why you want him to be leader of the party without they vote for him? When they vote for him to be the chairman.
That is the man.
That makes sense.
That is the man illogic. Logic. He believed that he fooling somebody.
10 minutes. Is that's asking that
let them vote. Let them vote for the man. That's all. If it is you're saying that them vote for him before, let them vote. Your argument is ocious. It is asinine. It is dotish. It is puerile. It is, of course, really insulting to the average intelligence.
It is. Yeah, it is. You see, this man is really a fool, and he really has sense. Because if he really
the man is dotish. My mother has sense at the back of a spoon. Dotish at the back of a spoon.
Yes.
I mean, you're making no sense. If they voted for him to be vice chairman or chairman, as the case may be, allow the people and them to choose him in a free and fair and open electoral process. But no, you're trying to play smart with foolishness. But go ahead.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see what me really on them, you know. Because I know Stiochung, I know they're going to lose, right? But we just saying something. Why this man does try to manipulate people and try to make it look like he has so much sense. And man is really the back of a spoon, really, boy.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
Rowley must understand that his shelf life has expired.
Yes.
Expired. And therefore, he is persona non grata and is now irrelevant, ocious, and must now call the blasted elections so that the people can pronounce judgment on him and those who he has brought into his fold in this conspiratous entity that is a criminal enterprise called the PNM. That's all.
Correct. So, Smith, boy, I will tell you. We will talk again tomorrow, please God.
Yes, man. Yes, we have a lot of time. Thank you, of course, for your brevity, put it that way, for your short but very effective presentation. Yes, so we were called to, of course, look at the final document, and I want to play it now for you so you have an appreciation, and I will talk you through it as we, of course, look at the document. So all of these people, as I said, I was the only non-minister there. But of course, at the end of the day, what he did, he asked me for and I was the only one that was allowed to leave that room with a copy. And that is the only copy, I believe, that is existing in the public sphere. I don't think the ministers got any, but I demanded one as part of my my contribution. And of course, I gave the commitment that I will not deliver any or share the information until, of course, it is formally announced. And what transpired was that Donald Cox and myself, and that's why I don't have any respect for these people, because they don't have respect for themselves in terms of their integrity, in terms of their character, in terms of their personality. But it's clearly 30 pieces of silver, and that is why I spoke of course, of Judas earlier. You see, she and I was given the task to find a place for the housing of the program, ostensibly or preferably closer to the area that we wanted to set up this pilot project called MLI, Mova Lavatil Initiative. And we had several places we began, of course, to identify, until, of course, eventually Manning called, of course, an early election, and that was scuttled. But I am saying that even when Marlene was alive, and when Hippolyte was alive, and of course, this minister, who is now, of course, Minister of Social Development, are talking about Donald Cox, at least they could have said, well, you know, we were part and parcel of this initiative. But guess what? What I suspect, anything Manning, they believe that Rowley didn't want to hear. And so they preferred to have the country engulfed in all of this macabre and, of course, painful experience of a murder field, of the acquisition of blood money. And because they want to get Rowley's favor, they have sacrificed all of us. And thus, of course, it is not far-fetched to call any minister of national security under Rowley a murderer, or the health minister a murderer, and all of them, particularly Rowley, bearers of death and destruction and mayhem in more ways than one. Because they refused. Donna Cox is there still. She could have said, well, you know, when Manning was around, we were called to the National Security Ministry, Because they weren't around when we were putting that together under, of course, the behest of the Minister of National Security, having called me, of course, to address the National Security Council. And incidentally, of course, you had the Commissioner of Police then. I think it was Philbert. It was, of course, people from the FBI, people from this, from the spy entity, Scotland Yard, in, of course, the UK, and a number of others. Persons, including, of course, the head of the army, the head of the Coast Guard, etc. All of them were assembled there. And when I finished, there were no questions from them, except from the minister. And that, of course, resulted in the development of this initiative called MLI, because it was supposed to be a pilot project in Laventille to be, of course, duplicated with the appropriate tweaking to other hotspot communities across the country. That is what that was all about. Listen, watch it. Yes, indeed. Here we are, the contributors, of course. You will see there, coming from, of course, the police, the army, the yes, and even, of course, other representative community action officer, several of them from the prisoner as well. And that was the background. You're seeing it there now. Despite the best efforts, according to the background, the best efforts and intention of law enforcement, a community to effectively address unacceptably high crime situation in the country. That's what that particular card was saying in that particular final presentation that was supposed to be the precursor to the rolling out of a crime plan designed for Laventille first and foremost, and then to be replicated. The situation has not abated, according to the literature. The situation has worsened. The situation in the Mobile Laventille area particularly alarming. Yes. And then, of course, these communities account for a significant proportion of the total murders, woundings, shootings, and other serious crimes, of course. And it is no different today. That was back in 2009, before Manning called the election. No different. But let's go to the lines. We have a call from Tobago. President, good night. Welcome.
Like I said, I would not get through at all. I'm calling it 337.
Yes, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Tonight was a bit fanatic and hectic. Yes.
Yeah, but when you think it, tell me where to call, man.
All right, my friend. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, because plenty people I know where to call.
All right, the 337, same call.
Yes, I want to ask something, and I want you to use a teacher, right?
Go ahead.
What I believe this putting this pan is a way for Rowley to feel he will win election with that stupidness he doing there. I doubt it just like that. He don't have no more ideas. They don't have nothing to campaign on. So they're trying everything in their book and putting the pan and putting this there and putting that there. And it ain't making no sense because people don't like him. They don't like PNM anymore. We want to be free. We want election. We want to breathe again. Call the election. I'm tired with them in office. And I got feeling sick now with PNM in office. And I want to ask something, Teach. What is the history of the pan? I would like to know the history of the pan.
Well, it started with violence.
Because I know my mother tell me that she see people barely come out in ban. Right? She see people barely actually come out and they put sheet on them and all kind of thing. Right? So I want to know. And I want to say something. I hear you talk about Judas and so forth.
Yes. Yeah. But you had the conversation with. Yes. All right.
The money Judas had, nobody wasn't taking it, right?
Yeah.
So he buy a piece of land.
and there's where he went and hung himself. Right? And what I know about it is that the rope that hung him burst. Well, you know, God have everything to do with that, right?
Yes.
And he very scattered all about the place. That is what I know about Judas.
Right.
Right? But recently I hear people talk the same thing with you, like some dog eat the belly, but I didn't know nothing about that. I know about it. He hung himself, and Jesus tell him before that he should have wished he never born. That is what I know about Judas.
Wow. All right. Well, of course, the same heinous end, taking his own life, and if dog would have eaten the remains that would have scattered there, well, I mean, it is logical and it is it is plausible that could have happened. Yeah, go ahead.
To me, I doubt anything wanted Judas belly.
I hear you, my friend. I hear you. I hear you, my friend. I hear you. All right. That's it. Yes. You know, we have to be able, of course, to make a little fun from time to time. But let's get back, of course, to the subject matter that is of serious nature that, of course, Rowley has overlooked for the last 10 years. And John Cox and Marlene and, of course, Hippolyte, that was still around at the time, afraid to tell him, well, under Manning, this is what came up, and of course was specifically designed for Laventille and to, of course, replicate in other parts. Otherwise, we wouldn't have all these kind of murders. But, of course, they would want, of course, not to involve me, the man who is the brainchild behind it. So, of course, so it would have failed. It would have failed. So let us not waste time. It is easy to see that it would have failed. Rowley, because it was not implemented, will come, of course, with the usual phantasmagorical, what I consider to be very prolific, evil thoughts, and he will conjure up some excuse for, of course, the non-implementation. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to Mr. Trincity.
A pleasant good night. Good night, Lennox. Well,
good
I
night
could say it wasn't no dog or no nut. Now I would say it's a Kobo, yes? And you know what Kobo is?
I hear you. I hear
it's
you.
Kobo go pick. Kobo don't pick from the top, you know. It's pick from the bottom. So you know what's going on with him.
I hear you.
Well, yeah, what's going on? It is really cool to find out. I know if it's alleged. I'm using the word alleged because I hear in it, so I'm not 100%. That the CPEP workers have only received it. They will be only receiving half of their salary. Now, I want to know if they are at the bottom of the scale and still getting half of the salary. What is this government is really thinking and really doing to these people? These single parents and whatever it is, you know, what constraints and what they might have. They have kids, they have, you know, bills to pay, and they have all of that, and they are the lowest in the bottom scale of salaries, and they're getting now half of their salary. And what are you thinking about that? What do you think about that?
I mean, it is despicable, and it's another betrayal. And those are the persons who would form the bulk of the electorate, and who would, if they are connected to CPF, bet your bottom dollar that they are persons who the PNM would have identified as one of them. But of course, I wonder if they know that just as how they told under the NRI, they were told under the NRI to eat them out and vote them out. Not that the money is not theirs already, but certainly they need to take it and of course get rid of their PNM. They cannot be more disappointed than they are now, because of course they are under the crunch, they are under the poverty line, and to be so disrespected and further, of course, dispossessed. I mean, it is just abominable, and it is another cog in the betrayal scenario of this government.
Yeah. So you know, I'm saying that these people and them, if they know that the PNM is not going to give them nothing.
Yeah.
And the UNC is going to will definitely be increasing their money going down the line.
That's right.
They will get a raise. I guarantee somewhere down the line they're going to be getting a raise. And you're looking to refuse that to take half of your salary now. I mean, I'm just thinking the nonsense that some of these people might be thinking. But I hope they come They open their eyes, they see the light, and they go across and they just do what they think is right for them and for them to live better, as we would say. So here, what is the next thing? That's just a small suggestion. Right? This is just my opinion. Considering the roads of the country, both Tobago and Trinidad.
Yes.
I think a reform of when we get back into is to paint those lines back, get those white lines painted back, because we are going through certain areas and we don't know if it have any white lines, what it is going on. Let me try to uplift the country by putting some simple putting up white lines in the road will transform the roads. At least you could see the roads that were already bad. You could be able to fix it now more better, because we don't know if white lines have existed or not. So I'm trying to say some of the roads on them don't have the line. So cars passing between there, they have to use their own, but Trinidadians is good drivers. But still yet, let me do the right thing and have the place looking nice and uplift the country. So let me think about, getting these lines on them, or at least on the road. So we could start somewhere. And I don't know, that's just an opinion. That's something I see and seeing is
No,
believing.
there should be a national campaign with respect to that, because it save a lot of lives. And as I said, I had a difficulty, of course, coming down the Beetham Highway some time ago, and I had difficulty. Rain was falling, so the visibility was, of course, poor, and I had difficulty, of course, in staying in my lane because I was unable to visibly see. The lines were not as conspicuous and as one would expect.
Yeah, because you've been driving.
Mr. Cruz, just a minute. I have Mr. TCT on. He's finishing now.
Yes, as one thing, you have been driving and experience on other drivers. We need to put some little, as you say, cat eye in the road.
Yeah.
In certain places.
Yeah, that will help. That would help.
Yeah. All right. Well, pleasant good night again, everyone. Ms. Sandra Cruz, a pleasant good night, and Ms. Rima. All right,
yes.
Lennox.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, of course, for that. What I consider to be resolution or solution-oriented contribution. A pleasant good night. Welcome, Ms. Sandra Cruz.
A pleasant good night to you, Lennox, and to everybody out there. Lennox, well, we celebrated World Education Day on Friday.
Yes.
Right? But that didn't have no effect on the PNMIs. Because they clearly show how dense they are.
I don't know why they opened them out to remove all doubts. I don't know why.
Exactly. And they show up their stupidity. But Lennox, you know what I find very strange? If it is that what you are saying every night, night after night, what you are saying offends these people, right?
Yes.
You are lying. You're lying on Rowley. And why come on the chat? They are glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
They're learning something, but they don't want to admit that they
that's
are
all. They
learning
are in
something.
denial, and that's a psychological condition of a human being who, of course, prefer not to be told. So they are in a constant state of what is called cognitive dissonance. So they will say that like the fox and the grapes, this grape is sour, this and that, and so on. But of course, but when they go home, they have a conscience, or when they go to bed, if they are home. Then of course they will dream all kinds of nightmares of not accepting the truth.
It never ceased to amaze me, Lennox.
Yeah.
Everything that you say, somebody has to come back and say something about it, right? Somebody has to criticize it, right? But you know what I was laughing at?
Right.
One of the things is that you are jealous. You are either jealous or it's reminding you about what you did, so that's what you're accusing Rowley of. That's the level they reached to now.
But the only thing is, Rowley not responded at all. I thought Rowley revered his good name. I thought the only thing he had was to defend his good name. I wonder why he is not, of course. But they will wonder that because they want to wonder for him. They want to wonder for him. They want to vicariously say that them is Rowley. Haul all your tail, eat all your heart out. Go ahead.
But you know, Lennox, they figure that Rowley is ignoring you. Rowley
Yes.
is the only prime minister who ignored you.
Yes.
But Rowley know if he answer you, just like he don't answer Anil,
That's right.
right? He know it's gonna come out. But you see, Lennox, you see, some of these people feel that the Statutory Rape Act is irrelevant. And they say it, the Statutory Rape Act is irrelevant. Because you see, they are accustomed doing it. Fooling these young schoolgirls and them with Kentucky, KFC special, with weave, with the latest phone and all
And
that.
I understand the red chair down the corridor.
Right. You understand? They're fooling them with these things. They go in with these schoolgirls and they figure that it is okay. Because the law is not applying statutory rape to these people. They're not doing it. Lennox, how many schoolgirls have gotten pregnant? Where is the father of that child? Who got those schoolgirls pregnant? Because it is a crime. It is a crime. Even the schoolboys and them, they're supposed to be charged as well. But you see, just as everything in this land, right, is who you know, right? And the law is really an ass, Lennox. Excuse my language. The law is really an ass. Because if they were applying it, you would never find them doing that, Lennox. Never find statutory rape so prevalent. And next thing, Lennox, I don't know, somebody, I think it was Silver Fox, asked if they do it, put that the ban on the coat of arms to win the election, they tried all kind of thing. But I said that earlier. I said that right after they did it, it's to pacify the pan fertility after taking the land. Because we saw where they gave Ramsey Moore an award. What did she get it for giving Rowley the land? Is that what she got it for? Because I have not seen they do anything. And look at how they were coming on the ground report. Vented, carrying on, and what happened now? It fizzled out like a wet fireworks. Not a word again from them in English. And the next thing that Rowley is campaigning on, he bringing up Stuart Young lineage now, that the man have family in penal. But I want to ask you tonight, Lennox, and I am asking you through the Freedom of Information Act, right? If we can find out if Stuart Young recused himself for any of his penal family. Because we see he did it for almost 300 times to make his father a millionaire and his brother a banking billionaire. Right? Did he do it for any of his penal family? Because that's what Rowley campaigning on now. Stuart Young and family in penal. I want to also ask if when there's flooding in penal, if Stuart Young puts on his boots and go up there. But we have to find out if any of Stuart Young family, mother's family, right, get any big contract with the government. We have to find out that, Lennox. Because you want to campaign on Stuart Young, we want to know how they benefited from anything from this the government. Because every time Rowley opens his mouth, you know, he always coming with some crap.
Yes.
We saw this week as well, Lennox, where they were entertaining the media. You remembered Lennox when Kamala was entertaining the media. He said that she bribing the media. Everything that Rowley criticized Kamala for.
But he not
Rowley
bribing
turned
the
around and do
media.
it.
And those stupidese showing a blind eye to that. As he
Yes,
continue to make a
Lennox.
fool of them. And they don't know that they are like lamb to the slaughter of deception.
slaughter.
Yeah.
Because Lennox, we see journalists who got jobs under the PNM government. I remember a journalist, I can't remember her name now, but she was working with Martin Joseph. She's an older man now. She's an older man. How many of them got jobs, but you were condemning? And you see the media, they are a nasty bunch of people. A nasty, nasty bunch of people. Because what was good for what is good for Rowley was never good for Kamala. But you know what? We're going to get a second bite of the cherry, and we're going to deal with all of them. Lennox, thanks a lot and have a good night. You take care.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, of course, people, that would have been the last call. It is already 6 minutes past 10. I know that I have shortchanged you, but we will deal with that tomorrow. But of course, and we will of course go into more details about that, and I will show you the product of that is still around. But I'll give you the circumstances as to why it is still around. There is a facility up at Gonzales, yes, called MLI. I've taken the pictures so you would see. So those of you who are tending, of course, to gravitate to the, what I consider the ignorance of those who clearly are not in a position to know and therefore verify these pieces of information, and saying that somehow that I would have found that somewhere in a dustbin. Don't be surprised if they say that. Don't be surprised if they say that. But of course, where it matters, and it is for you to be the ultimate judge as to the veracity of the information that is coming before you now. And don't get me vexed before I bring Archbishop Burke on the blasted program, you know. Don't get me vexed. Don't get me vexed. Joint Community Services Center. It was the instrument that was supposed to roll out the initiative, but Manning called the elections. But that is the document. That is the document. Transformation, yes. Intervention model. Modeled after, of course, as I said, the empowerment zone concept. I will give you that document as well. And the actual presentation that was made to the National Security Council that gave rise to this national security generated document. Finance, how it will be rolled out, who are the personnel, what role the various ministers would have played, and you saw them there at the time. It was Hazel Manning because she was in education. It was Donna Cox because she was the representative for Laventille East. It was Hippolyte because he was the representative for Laventille West. It was Marlene MacDonald because she was the representative for Port of Spain South. And the initiative was supposed to impact all of them. And that is why they were summoned to the Ministry of National Security. Lennox Smith being the only non-minister. Eat your heart out. Eat your heart out. Rowley and them is boo. Let me be more specific. Boo-boo. Waste of time. That is there. That is there. That document is there. But because it was generated under Manning, Rowley and his foolish, myopic, dangerous, toxic, irrelevant, asinine, vacuous, cacophonous babblings, and of course, ambulatory orations that has no relevance. Imagine, and I take what the caller said, very good observation, that if George Young was voted in as even chairman of the party and held several portfolios, why it is you cannot now organize to vote him into the office of leader of the party and therefore take his rightful place with the slim majority, the tenuous majority, the minuscule majority that they have in Parliament, only 21 seats. Only 21 seats. Right now. Why? Why you vote him in? Why you set up a whole special convention to endorse that nonsense and to hoodwink you, sycophants and you rank and file. Come on, that is a betrayal. You must know that Rowley was telling us all the time that PNM is symbolically an African party. That is why, of course, only Africans were at the forefront when election campaigning is taking place. But when they get into office, all the nice work is for the other races. Let's take this final call. I insist that it be the final one. A pleasant good night.
Good night, Lennox. Orlando here.
Good night, my friend.
No, I actually was watching the replay last night on YouTube, and I hear about the guy in Miami. What's his name? The guy who called and complained or whatever.
Yes.
I wanted to listen. When you see Raj make a point and Raj arguing, and this go for Beulah and everything, I could defend myself. You know what I mean? I could defend myself pretty good. So when I say something, it's not because I'm saying it out of the air. It's because I watch a lot of news, I read a lot of news. You know, I have a lot of time on my job, so I spend a lot of time. So. But anyhow, one thing I want to tell you something, Lennox. If the whole Rowley, right, and the charge Rowley, okay, and the president come and pardon him, would Trinidadian like that?
Of course not. And of course we have, and I want to tell you that is a real scenario. That's a real scenario, and she could pardon him even before the matter reached the court.
Right. So the point I'm making about that is because
for the limited time that she would have had, she may have by the time the election is called and this decision made and the UNC comes into government, she may have about a year again, and she could make do a lot of damage by that time.
Yeah. Well, you see, the point I'm making about that is because I am totally disagree. I'm disappointed that when Trump pardoned those people, it's not right for him to pardon those people who beats up the police, who kills a policeman, who destroyed the White House, and he pardoned every one of them. So that's my point I'm making. How could you like someone like that? How could I like the president?
No, you can't. But of course, they have to live with their own conscience.
Right.
At the end of the day, because it is permissible, because the only person that is not, of course, held accountable for whatever act, whether legal, illegal, is, of course, as in this case as well, the president of the country. The prime minister must, of course, account, criminally as well, but not the president.
And the people who get charged have to pay for the bad doings.
Yes, and the people who, of course, are eventually charges, but that will not happen in such a scenario where, of course, you can get pardoned because you are favored by such an individual who hold that office and abuse it in that way.
That's exactly my point. So how could I could agree with Donald Trump? I keep telling people I don't dislike the man. I dislike the man's policies. Well, you have to radical.
Well, you have to say you have to say as well. That you can't like Biden either because, of course, he pardoned his family.
No. But then Donald Trump did it first. If you want to go like that, Donald Trump did it first.
Whichever way, it is not right. It is not right. Whichever way. But let's not waste time. Yeah.
But you can't say it's Biden and then Donald Trump pardoned his son, father-in-law, give him a big position as ambassador. So how could you say it's not right for the man to pardon his own son?
Huh?
You got to understand. How could Donald Trump pardon his son-in-law father and pardon him because he was in jail and then give him a big position as ambassador? So how could that be?
Well, that's a matter for the American people to judge. I'm just saying that it happened because it is permissible and it is legal.
But what I'm saying is too long don't make a right, which is true.
I agree. Right?
But if you if you come and you hurt my eye, I have to hurt your eye too. I believe
eye for eye. Eye for eye.
That's how I believe it. If you kill my son, I kill your son. I don't care.
I hear you. All right,
That's
my
how.
friend. Well, you
All
know,
right.
that's how the
Uh,
cookie crumbles.
yeah. No, don't worry. I'll listen to you tomorrow. Talk to
All
you
right, then.
later.
Yes,
Then.
my friend. Yes, thank you very much. All right, let me go and take a little 5 now. Of course, it is 60 minutes past 10 o'clock. Yes, some good friend of mine keeps saying when you say 10, please end at 10. So it's 60 minutes past, you know. This is how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But of course, let's end with, of course, I will explain, of course, the information tomorrow night that you're seeing flashing across the screen. But of course, let's add some kind of spiritual ending to the weekend and what we have been doing over this weekend.